You're on air with Jaimee, the place where female founders, industry leaders, innovators, and disruptors all come to level the fuck up. Today's show is brought to you by Meant for Millions, 28 days to melt your money blocks away. I have a really big, juicy episode for you today. Full disclosure, I really haven't planned this. I really haven't thought this through. Ebony, my dear podcast manager, I apologize in advance because I know that sometimes these episodes that people record that they're like, oh, I'm channeling this in the moment, as powerful as it can also be a little bit disjointed and rambly. And that really isn't my intention here today. Today, I really want to share with you some very real thinking and feeling that I have been going through at the moment. So this is off the back of an Instagram post that I put up yesterday, being really vulnerable. Like, I don't think I have ever been more honest on social media ever. This was exposing all of my wounds, all of my limiting beliefs, all of my shadows, all the shit that has been holding me back and keeping me stuck this year. And the intention really was not to air my dirty laundry all over social media, because that is not what we're here to do, but it's to show you that even the people like myself who have the tools, like I literally reprogram people's minds, I can help women through all of the shit that I've been struggling with. And yet these things have been keeping me stuck. And there's so much to that I really want to unpack with you here, because the truth is, like, I've been really thinking about this podcast and how much I love recording these episodes. But what I'm finding is that when I'm in the moment and I'm excited about something, I'm dropping it on Instagram. And so for many of you, it might be like, well, what's the point of even listening to the podcast when she talks about all this on Instagram? Come closer, because here is the point. What my intention is with this show is to bring you the inside scoop. This is where I talk so real, so raw, so unfiltered. And I'm going to really start to share even more of this stuff with you. So it's like you're getting the inside scoop, you're getting a deeper dive. I'm able to talk about the same stuff, but in a much more unfiltered way, because let's be real, Instagram, TikTok, all of those places, they filter you, right? We've seen so many people lose their accounts and be flagged for, being spammy or being inappropriate for certain words and phrases that they use. And I don't want that to happen to my account. But right here is my place. This is my space to share with you everything that I desire to share in a completely unfiltered way, where I know that I can't get canceled by some fucking algorithm. So that is what we're here for. That is the intention behind this show. If you missed the post that I shared yesterday, I want to give you the TLDR version, but I will also make sure that that post is linked in the show notes in case you want to go and check it out for yourself. Also, I want to say I got so much love on that post, and I appreciate that so much. It really wasn't a post to put out just to get love and, to get likes and to convince myself that people actually like me. I know all of that, right? But it is so nice when people acknowledge where you're at and share you for your vulnerability, because, the internet is a fucking scary place sometimes. I see people get canceled all the time over the most ridiculous things. And, I'm just not here for it. So my post that I shared yesterday was really talking about how this year has been a massive struggle for me. We've reached the middle of the year. Like, can you believe it is June? It's fucking June. Where did this year go, right? And so always coming up to the middle of the year for me, I start to reflect on where I'm at, how things have been going, where I am in regards to the vision that I desire to create for the year ahead, even though I've spoken time and time and time again how I don't like to get stuck into timeframes. I play in the quantum. I love to just be in the now. I do still like to use the calendar year as a way to reflect and to essentially keep me on track. And so coming into June, I was like, okay, where am I at? And all of the memories of last year started popping up. Like, I love Facebook memories. I love Instagram memories, but do you know what? Sometimes they can be a bitch, right? This time last year, I realized my energy was so different. And that caused me to go on this like a little roller coaster of inner reflection, which is what actually led to that post. So this year I realized I've really been struggling. I have been sitting in imposter syndrome, in fear, in doubt, in just pure self-loathing. Like the things that I have said to myself, the stories that I have told to myself this year, I would not say to my fucking worst enemy, which by the way, I don't really have a worst enemy, but like, you know the saying, right? I would not speak those words to another human being. So why am I speaking them to myself? And I realized it's because there has so much been going on for me. There has been so much out of alignment. My energy shifted. It's like we flicked into the new year and everything shifted and changed. But instead of being more in alignment and pivoting closer towards the things that I desire to have in my life, towards the vision that I have for my life, I actually pivoted in the other direction. Now, these moments happen totally for a reason, and we can play into that as much as we desire. Everything happens for you and not to you and blah, 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 blah. The reality is that this shit happens, right? This shit happens, and now it's time to redirect. It's time to pivot back. It's time to get back on course. But I want this to also be a lesson for you, right? This year I've had some of the most amazing opportunities come to me. And instead of seeing them as amazing opportunities, instead of being in the moment and allowing myself to shine in those moments, I allowed them to lead to more doubt. I allowed them to lead to imposter syndrome. This year, I literally got to sit at a dinner table with 4 incredibly successful and inspiring women who are fucking making bank in business. And instead of using that as an opportunity to really be in the moment and share that like I'm meant to be in that circle and that circle is for me and that I was brought to that for a reason, I went so far inwards and I convinced myself that it was a complete fluke, that I was not really invited, and I kind of just impressed myself upon this event that was happening. This is how bullshit and how easy things spiral. I literally told myself that it all happened by fluke, that I wasn't meant to be there, that I had nothing of value to add. And I sat there like a mute. I wasn't able to contribute to conversation the way I normally am because I was so far up in my head and in my own way. It was like the wall just kept getting built and built and built and built. I literally got home from that dinner and I cried. I cried to my husband like a fucking wounded girl who had been cast aside on the schoolyard, just like in high school, right? And it's not the fucking vibe. That's not who I am. That's not how I show up. And so I've really been sitting with this and really reflecting like what shifted, what changed. And the truth is my whole energy shifted and changed. Last year, I ran my own race. Last year, I was doing what intuitively came to me. Last year, I was running my $1 Million Me movement. My TikTok was popping off. I had videos not going fully viral, but like viral in respect for me. And it felt so good. I felt like I was shining online. Truly shining online, just being myself, sharing my message. And then I overcomplicated the absolute fuck out of it, trying to strategize too much. Now, I know that there's always been this big debate about energy versus strategy, and I am here for both because I know truly at the core that any multiple 6 to 7 figure business absolutely needs both. You need the energy, you need the mindset, you need the fucking strategy. There is no debate about that. Let's leave that at the door. The problem that I see and the problem that I have experienced is when you are intuitive, when you do have feelings about things, when you have a big vision, and then you try to strategize it too much. And we overcomplicate the fuck out of the strategy piece. And then all of a sudden, everything else starts to lose its momentum. The wheels start to fall off, right? And The real lesson in this is that you need a strategy, absolutely. You need a simple, replicable strategy. You need a strategy for your business that is going to allow you to scale. That is that. Nothing needs to be any more complicated than that, right? If you are an intuitive person, within that strategy, you have to leave room for flow. You have to leave room for magic. Because when you try to over strategize and like put your magic in a box, essentially, like mold it to fit something, you lose the magic. You lose the power. I invite you to use these stories to really reflect on where you're at. How are you feeling in relation to your vision and your goals this year? How do you feel like you have led yourself this year? How do you feel like you have led your business this year? One thing I do not want you to do, and this is not what I have done, right, is sit in the turmoil of this. You do not need to sit in the resistance and sit in the shit and feel it in order to heal it. No, we're not emotionally bypassing anything. Absolutely not. It's okay and it's safe to feel your emotions, but you don't need to sit in those spaces in order to heal it and move on. You don't need to sit in that discomfort in order to grow and to get your momentum back. But what you do need to do is truly acknowledge where you are at. I think some of my message has been a little bit misconstrued in the way that I have maybe shown up and shared it. At no point do I believe in any moment when I say that you are not the common denominator in your success or failure, do I mean that you do not get to take responsibility for that. By me saying you are not the common denominator, what I want you to know is that you are not alone in this, that you have been conditioned, as with every other woman scaling her business, to believe certain things, to see certain things, to get caught in this roller coaster of self-growth and personal development. You are not alone in that. You are not the common denominator in that. The problem-solving mindset is literally ingrained in us. It comes from caveman days, right? And I've said it once, I'll say it again, we're literally programmed to see the problems. And the problem that I have with that is that there are industries that really fuel that in order to unintentionally keep you stuck in the loop, keep you investing, keep you on your self-help, self-growth, personal development journey. That is one side to the coin. The other side of the coin is that you still must have radical self-acceptance and take radical responsibility for where you are at. Because regardless of what external things, what external factors have maybe been impacting you and contributing to you being stuck in the place that you are at, you are actually the solution. You are the one who made the choices to get there, who made the choices to allow those things to impact upon you, and therefore you are the one who gets to make the choices and do different and change your situation. You are not the common denominator, but you are the fucking solution. Now, in order to keep out of this problem-solving mindset, I like to always focus on where I'm going, right? I like to always reflect on the vision, and I've spoken about this before, how in none of my sessions do I ever start with digging into my subconscious, looking for the problems, looking for the stories, looking for the limiting beliefs. And I want you to start to apply this same process to everything. I want you to always start with your vision. And so with this, it's exactly the same. So where in relation to where you thought you'd be, to where you desired to be, by June 2023, are you now? Where are you now? Let's get real. Let's get really fucking honest, and let's really look at where we are. Once you know where you are in relation to where you actually desire to be, you can start to unpack that. And that's exactly what I've been doing. I've really been looking at, okay, well, I'm nowhere near where I desired to be. The trajectory of my business coming into the end of last year, it was on the upper, right? And this is very normal, I also want to say. Like, business is not linear. We all know that. We've seen the bloody memes. We've seen the Instagram posts. Business is not linear. We already know, right? But at the end of last year, my business was like this. My business was on the upper. I was doing better than I ever have before in business. And then it literally fell off. And it's been going on a deep dive all the way down and not improving. Like, we have not hit another upper until this moment. And I think it's because I have not been sitting in any level of self-reflection. I have been hyper reactive to the things that are happening around me. I have been trying to keep too many balls in the air. I have been juggling so much. If you don't know, like, my husband works away. I am a mum to a 3-year-old. I'm also a pharmacist, and I have a second business where I actually contract 2 pharmacies to help them out. And I do that twice a week at the moment. I keep a lot of things in the air, right? And because of that, other things have been suffering. You know, my health, my wellness, I spoke about that in another episode, but also my fucking sanity. And this business that is actually my heart and soul, this business that is actually the thing that I know I am here to share with the world. I know that I can absolutely fucking change your life, right? And I don't say that out of arrogance. I say that because I know it. I say it because I know that that is what I'm here to do. I am here to change your life. I am here to change the way that you do personal development, the way that you see self-growth, and the way that you see self-mastery. And I'm here to give you a totally different and easier way to achieve everything that you desire to achieve. But I've gotten in my own way because I've tried to do too much, because I haven't stayed true to myself, because I've tried to over-strategize everything. And when I unpack this, I can see the stories that are in the way. I can see the bullshit beliefs, the horrible things that I've said to myself. And here's the kicker, right? It's great to unpack all of that. And this is the step that I really think that a lot of personal development misses. It's great to unpack it all. And it is so incredibly healing. It is so incredibly rewarding. And it really helps you to see your patterns. And I think self-awareness is 1000% where we need to be. It's so cool to see how your brain works. It's so cool to unpack these patterns, right? But that's only the first step. To truly transcend and alchemize, as people like to say, to truly transcend and alchemize these stories, these beliefs, these things that are holding you back, that are keeping you stuck, that are keeping you in this bullshit narrative, you need to rewrite it at the source. This is where subconscious reprogramming, superconscious recodes come in, right? Now, I use the superconscious recode. I use a variety of other modalities that I have in my tool belt that are very similar to NLP, and I also use EFT. And so with these techniques, I am able to literally reprogram this stuff at their root cause. You cannot journal this shit out. You cannot affirm it out by saying affirmations every single day. You need to go back to the root cause, the root belief, the root story, and rewrite it from there to truly transcend and alchemize a pattern that is keeping you stuck. And so that is where I have been at the moment. And this is what I want for you. I want you to be able to achieve this level of self-awareness. I want you to be able to reflect and see the things that are holding you back. But I also want you to know that you need to take the next step and truly rewrite it at its source in order to see the lasting changes and the lasting benefits. And that really is my end goal of everything. This is the path that I am taking my business. This is the content that I want to bring to you is how to actually do that. In all of my programs, all of my courses, anything that you join of mine from here on in, this is where it's at. This is the work that we are doing. Because there absolutely are other people out there who use these modalities, these techniques, and actually rewriting stuff at the source. But I'm just not seeing it in the marketing. I'm not seeing people talk about how actually fucking important it is to go to the subconscious and to rewrite and reprogram these beliefs. Instead, what I'm seeing, and this is my issue with the personal development industry, is people just talking about the surface level stuff, people just talking about unpacking the limiting beliefs and unpacking the shadows, and we all talk about transcending stuff, but nobody's actually talking about what you actually need to do in order to fully transcend it. And maybe it's because they are all working with the conscious mind. And that's great. If you stick at that for months and months and months, you'll absolutely eventually write that story, right? But there is an easier way. There is an easier and faster way. so that you can continue to move forward in your business, so that you can continue to build momentum, and so that you can actually rewrite this stuff at the source to prevent it from being such an issue in the future. This is where I come in. Now, the purpose of me sharing all of this is also so that you know I have been there. When I say to you, I know how you feel, when I am able to see a pattern in you that you haven't seen yourself, it's because I've been there, I've lived it, and I experienced it. I truly believe good coaches and mentors live, they learn, and then they teach. And that's very much the energy that I have been in. Although this past 6 months has felt like literally fucking pushing shit up a hill once again in my business. And I have, I've sat in horrible stories and horrible feelings and sat in resistance, right? I truly do believe that it is so I can better serve you, right? Because I live it so that I can learn it, so that I can teach it, right? This is the path forward. And I want you to be able to experience this as well. I want you to know that even people like me who have all of the tools in their tool belt still sometimes fall in a heap, and that's fucking okay. Because as I've said before, I will say it again, we are humans having a human experience. And that does mean highs and lows, and it means duality, and it means holding both at once. And I want to finish by actually touching on the duality topic, because one of the comments that I did get on that post that I'm referring to throughout this whole episode, which I will make sure is linked below, I promise you. One of the comments was that you would never have known it from the outside. If I didn't basically air all of this on social media and tell you everything that's been going on in my mind, you would not have known. And to that, I want to say that this is true duality. This is true self-mastery, the ability to hold two things at once. And I think that we fucking underestimate ourselves so much when it comes to this. Because the truth is that even though I have been struggling and I have been going through like inner turmoil, it's basically been an inner civil war. I'm holding that part of me, but I'm also still able to show up, and I'm still able to put on the energy of this is my end result. I'm stepping into my $1 million me, and I'm showing up in that energy, consciously choosing it, as opposed to sitting in this inner turmoil. This is those part personalities, right? This is the things that conflict against each other. And true self-mastery is when you can hold them both, and when people can't see it from the outside, right? We get to hold both. It doesn't make us fake. It makes us fucking human.